some love for the ladies. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing the difference between high intensity interval training, better known as HIIT, and steady state cardio. So there is so much information in terms of, the most efficient way to reach your goals, the best thing to do for fat burning, the best thing to do for, your mind, the best thing. So today I really want to break down the key things that I find that are very helpful for those that are beginning their journey, just to kind of break it down, and also for the people that may have been at this for a while and you may not understand why initially you were getting results, but now you're at a plateau or a standstill and you really don't know why, because you're busting your butt, you're doing everything you need to do with your nutrition, and you're just frustrated. And if that is you, drop a 1 in the comments, let me know, because a ton of people that I work with have done different plans, and at one point they were really getting the results they wanted, and here they feel that they're just really frustrated because they don't know what to do. It's like, I give up. I've tried everything. I don't know what is going on with my body. So maybe after hearing some of these things, you can kind of adjust your plan a little bit and you may start seeing results. That's hopefully the goal. So, and for any of you guys watching on the replay, thank you so much for watching, and let me know where you're watching from. If you have any amazing plans tonight, just let me know. These are my amazing plans, and then I get my baby back tomorrow, so I'm super excited. Okay, so high intensity interval training. That is a very efficient way to reach your goals. Yes, 100%. However, a lot of people are overdoing it in terms of HIIT. Now, HIIT is in the same category as resistance training. A lot of people don't view it in the same category. They want to think cardio, I'm sweating profusely doing my HIIT. I don't necessarily sweat so much with doing the weights, but they are both anaerobic movements. With your anaerobic movements, you are pulling carbs for fuel. So just to kind of put that out there right from the very beginning, that is the process that happens with that. Now with the steady state, meaning you're choosing whatever modality you're choosing, whether it's biking, it's running, it's walking, and even if it is running, but you're still going at the same pace the majority of the time, your heart rate stays pretty consistent the majority of the time, you are doing aerobic activity. I'm sure you've heard that's aerobics, cardio, and you're pulling fat for fuel. Okay, so with the difference here, you're getting calorie burn with both. But the afterburn effects from the high intensity interval training, or even the resistance training, because same category again, you're getting that afterburn. So the EPOC, the excess post-oxygen consumption, that's when you're doing this heavy, high intensity type of exercise, you should feel very out of breath. And any of you guys that might say, well, I'm doing HIIT, but you're able to talk to your buddy on the treadmill next to you, or you're able to juggle your cell phone and I'm surfing the web. That's not HIIT. Like, I'm talking, there's so many different types out there. Feel free to drop in the comments what you like to do for your HIIT. I know there's different techniques. There's Tabata style. There's, if you want to set your own timer and you want to stay consistent with 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Honestly, what I suggest for a majority of my clients to keep it simple, set a timer and bust your butt for 30 seconds, all out effort, whether you're using the step at home and you're doing toe taps, 30 seconds as fast as you can, followed by 30 seconds of movement, just regular pace. Again, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 15 minutes minimum, 25 max. But Tabata is a little bit different. There's different intervals. Whatever the case may be, you should be sucking wind. You should be like gasping for air to the point where you feel like you're borderline asthmatic. I hate to say that, but if you are doing this correctly, you should feel like you are struggling to get that breath. And so after you're done, that EPOC is when you're really trying to get your oxygen back to baseline, and you're burning calories throughout the entire process of that afterburn. So the afterburn effects are what's going to allow you to burn much more calories and, in the long run, fat than just doing your steady state. Now, with that being said, you're burning calories with both. You are. But it goes a little bit deeper. And I think a lot of people, I know I used to preach HIIT, 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 heavy resistance. But what I'm finding is that there is a time and a place for both. And a lot of people are dealing with outside factors of life. They're dealing with stress, elevated cortisol already. And so we want to make sure that we're not pushing our HIIT and our resistance training full throttle, and we're not getting any of our steady state, where we could utilize that for more of like a stress reliever in a way. And I'm speaking from complete experience. I have been dealing with some life things over the last month to 2 months. Well, not all, but a lot of really good, exciting things that are happening, but they're stressors. And so for me, when I do HIIT training, I prefer using the treadmill, cranking that sucker up as fast as I can, crank it up, sprint for 30 seconds, hop off, jog in place for 30, back on. And the whole entire time from start to finish with my warm up and my cool down, I'm on there for about 30 minutes. That is not a stress reliever for me. I get so much of the natural endorphins, and I put it down here, when you do steady state, running, biking, whatever it is, same pace, stress relief, you breathe in the fresh air, you get those endorphins. Those are things that you don't necessarily get with HIIT. At least for me, at least for the majority of people that I talk to. Feel free to put your differing opinions if you feel that you do get an endorphin rush. You might get an endorphin rush, but that's different than just kind of a stress reliever. And so for me, taking walks and going on slow jogs in the neighborhood is so crucial to overall well-being and keeping my mind right and keeping my head in the game in terms of this and just with life, with business, with relationships, with family. And so I really do think that we need to put a little bit more light on the steady state at times and back away from the HIIT when we feel a little bit stressed out. Because at the end of the day, there have been many studies, one being Les Mills, and it was a couple years ago and it was done. They compared groups that were doing a lot of high intensity interval training, no steady state, and then it basically showed what's going on with your adrenals, your cortisol levels. And when you hit 50 minutes per week or greater of having your heart rate at your max heart rate or above, then you start storing fat because you're elevating your cortisol significantly. And that is going to it's going to make an uphill battle with the fat burning process in general. Okay, so when you take 220 minus your age, that's a very simple way of figuring out what your max heart rate is. 220 minus your age, that's your max heart rate. And if you are one that has like the chest strap, heart rate monitor of sorts, I would suggest you looking at that. And I think that the Apple Watch and certain brands do allow for like a print off, or on your phone you can track and see how many minutes you were elevated above your max heart rate. Now, if you're above, and that doesn't mean 50 minutes of HIIT, because the entire time you're doing HIIT doesn't mean that your heart rate's going to be over your max the entire 25 minutes that you do your session. You're going to have a few minutes, here and there throughout that it's elevated. Now, when you're like a rock star athlete and you've been at this for years, you have a lower resting heart rate, and so it's going to take that much more to get your heart rate elevated, more so even over your max heart rate. So the more elite of an athlete you are. So it's not going to be as problematic at that point because it's going to take that much more effort to get you up there. But for people that you do feel like your heart rate does elevate, and you probably are over your max heart rate more than 50 minutes a week, at that point your adrenals are stressed, cortisol is raised, and you are going to have a tough time accomplishing the goals that you want to accomplish in terms of shredding the fat and burning the calories and dropping the weight. So That's it in a nutshell. That is the message I wanted to give you guys, is that if you do feel like you're in kind of like a funky place in life and you're really stressed out, you're going through some things, and you know that your plan calls for doing so many days of resistance, so many days of HIIT, and maybe even just like no steady state at that time, or one day of steady state that week, but you feel like, oh my gosh, like I just have a lot on my mind and I just feel like I'm stressed, then I would suggest backing off 1 day or 2 days of the HIIT and even the resistance and doing some steady state, because it's a balancing act. Week to week is going to be different, and you have to adjust. You have to adjust with life. That's what I tell my clients all the time. If I'm explaining my coaching program to people that are inquiring, I say, this is not a set plan. This is a coaching program. I am with you along the way, minimum 3 months, so I help you navigate through the chaos of life. And any of you guys that would agree with me that life is crazy chaotic and you never know what it's going to throw at you, then please put agreed in the comments, because it's crazy. It's crazy. And that's part of the whole deal, is trying to navigate, keep your cool, and getting back to center. With anything in life, okay? With business, with weight loss, with just crazy relationships, whatever it is. And so if I can help people kind of come up with a game plan and keep their mind right throughout it all, then, it's a learning process for me too. So I can learn some things that'll help myself. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I do have one spot open for online coaching this month, and I would love it to be a mother, because that's, near and dear to my heart, but I love everyone. So just let me know, privately message me, or you can put interested in coaching in the comments. If you don't want to DM me and I can DM you, that is fine too. Make it a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.